Live from the NJ.com studio comes the only weekly TV podcast you'll need, where a lofty critic squares off with an obsessed superfan on everything from highbrow drama to lowbrow reality. The cocktail shaker is ready. Prepare for your TV hangover. Now, your hosts, Vicki Hyman and Erin Medley.
Hello and welcome to TV Hangover. I'm Erin Medley alongside the lovely Vicki Hyman. Vicki.
Hi.
Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at TV Hangover Show, at E_meds, and at Vicki High, VICKIHY. We also have an email address at tvhangovershow@NJ.com, although I'm not sure producer Alyssa checks the email address.
Right to my inbox.
Okay, so she does check it.
She looks highly offended.
She does look offended. But I wasn't sure because we haven't
heard from Randy in a while.
I mean, guys, we want to hear from you TV Hangover Show at NJAdvancemedia.com. Vicki, I feel like our podcast has hit so many milestones over the past week.
Well, it has.
I mean, we had our 50th episode last week. It was also our 1-year anniversary on the 16th of September.
Our second Emmys.
Where we did a special 20-minute Emmys-only podcast and a live stream. I mean, who are we?
We're superstars.
We are. We are superstars.
We're superstars in our own little universe
in
right
our own universe with our 4 fans, and we appreciate them all. So we're not going to do a lot of Emmys talk today because we already did that, and you can listen to our special podcast that came out earlier this week. But I do want to go over some Emmys ratings.
Okay.
All right. So this year...
Hold on. Wah, wah, wah.
Do we need the sad trombone music? The 68th Annual Primetime Emmys, hosted by Jimmy Kimmel, averaged 11.3 million viewers on Sunday night. That makes it the least watched Emmys on record, according to Nielsen.
Do you think it's that people are just, that's a general trend for most award shows, but do you think it was a particularly, lame set of nominations? I mean, kind of like everybody knew Game of Thrones was going to win. People versus O.J. Simpson was going to win.
Here's what I'll say. You cannot have the Emmys on when there's competing Sunday Night Football. Because I think the football game, I don't know who was playing, but from what I heard, don't quote me on this, the ratings for that game were like 26 million. Not saying that the Emmys are a male-driven show, but there are plenty of women that watch football, and I'm sure they were watching football and not watching the Emmys. Right?
I guess.
I don't know. I just think it's weird. Weren't the Emmys held on Monday night last year or the year before?
They were, but I think there was maybe there was a Jewish holiday or something. I can't remember what it was.
See, it's not good timing.
Not good timing.
It also doesn't help that I feel the Emmys kick off award season, but they're also not near any other award shows.
They're not.
So it's kind of the Emmys are on an island by themselves.
Wah, wah.
Yeah. So the highest rated Emmys was in 2013. Actually, it was the peak airing of the Emmys in the last 10 years. 2013, hosted by Neil Patrick Harris, 17.7 million viewers. Yes.
I can't even remember. I mean, Breaking Bad was on. Mad Men was on.
There were a lot of
I don't know. I have no idea why people...
on.
And Neil Patrick Harris, I mean, I loved him at the Tonys, but...
I don't recall anything he did.
Yeah, I don't remember anything. And quite frankly, I don't think people were all that excited to see Jimmy Kimmel hosting it. It's just not very exciting.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know what the Academy can do to get more people to watch at this point. I think a lot of people do the second screen, but it's no longer the second screen. It's just you pay attention on Twitter, and that's all you need to do. You don't actually have to watch the show. You could be watching football and the Emmys at the same time, right?
I guess, although I don't think I've ever watched football.
Well, yeah.
Doing anything. Ever.
All right.
Voluntarily.
Let's get into some other ratings news. So we're right now in the middle of fall TV season premiere week. So the numbers we have are from last week and Monday. So last week, American Horror Story Roanoke. Vicki, correct me if I'm wrong. They did not announce that was the
No, they
theme.
were very weird about it this year. They released like fake trailers. They were very, very quiet about it. And from what I heard about, I didn't watch it when it premiered, but I started watching a little bit later. Mm-hmm. And I made the mistake of like watching it in bed before I went to sleep, and then I watched about 5 minutes. Like, I can't do this.
It was
I can't
scary?
do this. It's a scary show. It is a scary show.
Yeah, that's why I've never
watched it.
watched
But I am interested in this one.
Roanoke, as in Virginia.
As in Roanoke, Virginia, the lost Roanoke colony, but there are references to that. It actually takes place in present day. They're doing a very weird thing where they started off with a reenactment of like one of these sort of like ghost hunter type shows, and then interviews with the people who actually experienced it, and then the reenactment. So you have two different actresses playing the same person.
Oh, okay, got it.
It's very interesting, very meta.
Is Lady Gaga on this season?
She is, but she was not in the premiere.
Got it. All right. Well,
and has a smaller role generally than she did last season.
Well, she has an album to promote.
Yes.
American Horror Story Roanoke premiered to 5.14 million viewers with a 2.8 demo rating, which is down 12% from American Horror Story Hotel's edition.
I wonder if like the Lady Gaga-ness of the last one really, boosted it.
Probably. Also the Matt Bomer-ness. Is Matt Bomer in this season? Because I love Matt Bomer.
I actually don't know if he's in it or not.
Matt Bomer is one of my TV boyfriends. He doesn't play for my team, but that's okay.
He's gorgeous.
He's so hot. And speaking of hotness, let's go back to the Emmys real quick for 1 second.
Okay.
Talk about my other TV boyfriend, Rami Malek.
Yeah.
Oh, he's so cute. And he brought his cousin as his date.
It was sweet.
Which means that I still have a chance.
I thought his part was too severe, but okay.
Well, he was going for a look. He achieved it.
Anyway.
All right, back to Monday ratings. CBS is The Big Bang Theory, which I guess is back on Monday nights. Wasn't it on Thursday?
It's on Monday nights. I think after football, it goes back to Thursday.
Well, no surprise here. 15.8 million total viewers. Who
Bazinga.
is watching this show? I bring it up every time. I do not understand. There are 15.8 million of you to watch The Big Bang Theory, but there are only 11.3 million of you to watch the Emmys. I don't get it.
I have no answer for you, although I have watched it, and it's not terrible. It's fine. It's good. We're going to be talking about a lot other worse sitcoms later in the show.
You mean Kevin Can Wait?
Maybe that's on my list. Maybe it's not. I'm not going to say it yet.
Well, that debuted to 11.2 million total viewers.
That should be no surprise. I mean, like the guy, it's basically
King of Queens.
King of Queens, but he's got kids and he was a cop, as opposed to a UPS driver.
Right.
It's
this
just
is Kevin
the
James,
same
the Kevin
sort
James
of
comedy.
thing, and people love that show. It was on for 7-9 seasons. I can't remember.
King of Queens was a quality show.
Well,
it also
Kevin
had
Can Wait is
but
very
it also
similar.
had Leah Remini. And I love Leah Remini. The Voice, which premiered on Monday, 2-hour premiere, had 12.1 million total viewers, which was down just a tenth from its previous premiere.
I guess people were excited about Miley Cyrus. I don't know.
And Alicia Keys.
I'm really The Voice, which by the way won Best Reality Show. I've got to say, I'm really tired of the format. I think they need to shake something up on that show.
I was tired of The Voice format season 2, which is why I haven't watched it.
I've liked it. I think they have a much higher quality of people than American Idol, but I'm just tired of it.
I get it. And here's a controversial one for you. The Good Place.
Yeah. Did pretty well.
Double episode premiere. Premiered after The Voice, which is, NBC's thing to do with a new show. 9.1 million for, I think, the first half hour, and then 7 million for the second half hour, which means they lost 2.1 million.
It's not going to be for everybody. I think it's a really solid show. It's very quirky. It's sort of like... It's got 2 stars that I think appeals to vast swaths of people, Kristen Bell and Ted Danson, and it'll be moving to Thursday nights, which is a regular slot.
And it's going to pair with what's that Walmart show?
Oh, Superstore.
Superstore.
Yeah.
Yes, they're going to be paired together. On
so
Thursday
I think
nights.
it'll do well. I don't think it's going to be a breakout hit, but
I have
high hopes for it.
I really love Kristen Bell. I think she can do no wrong, as I said on our special Emmys podcast. But this show, I watched both episodes. I wasn't high on the pilot, but I said I'll watch the second one. I'm just not there. It's not for me. I do like the fact that you can't curse and all of the replacement curse words are so funny.
Been saying mother forker a lot.
I think I'm going to use fork too. I used to say fudge, but I think fork is better. Before we move on to talking about the Real Housewives of New Jersey, which we must do. As one does. I have a question for you. Do you think...
No.
Do you think the kids from Stranger Things are being overexposed?
No, I don't think so. I think maybe they're a little bit on the cusp of it, but I don't think so.
I think someone at Netflix needs to reel it back in because they've been everywhere lately. And they've
done all the talk shows and they're on the Emmys, but not that many people were watching the Emmys.
That's true.
No, I don't think so. I don't think they were used to I don't think they were deployed very effectively at the Emmys. They were on their bikes delivering
peanut butter and jelly
sandwiches.
But did you see online, you can see that before the show started, they performed Uptown Funk for the audience.
Was that the ABC thing when I was watching E?
No, it wasn't on TV.
Oh, I don't know.
It wasn't on TV. You have to look for it online. They performed Uptown Funk, and I'm like, okay, that was cute. All right. Moving on.
Yeah,
I just think it's too much. No. All right. It's just me then. I think that the overexposure is coming. All right, let's dive into the Real Housewives of New Jersey. I'm so excited. Vicki, what happened?
That show? What show? What?
Oh
yeah. Which I had to watch at like midnight after covering the Emmys.
Oh, that's right. You did. And I watched it Monday morning, and I wish I hadn't.
Well, and I meant to do that sigh because you're always complaining about my sighs. The episode was sort of slightly interesting in Teresa finally sitting down with Kathy and Rosie, and they're basically pleading, let us into your life, and
onto
Teresa,
the show.
Yeah, thank you. Mm-hmm. And Teresa's like, I don't think so. I've got, enough people to concern myself with.
I got to cut the cancer out.
Got to cut the cancer out. Oh, we're not cancer, I can tell you that. I think it was more interesting for sort of setting up some of the alliances that are going to, and some of the schisms that are going to come to the fore when they go to Vermont. Mm-hmm. I thought the most interesting scene, actually, was when they were, I don't know whose house they were at, but it was Melissa and Joe, Jacqueline, Kathy, and Rosie, and Rich.
Yes.
They were together, and basically Kathy and Rosie were like asking Melissa, about the situation with Teresa. Melissa's like, I don't even want to talk about it. I'm in a good place with Teresa.
Right.
And then Jacqueline and other people were pointing out, well, you've been complaining about Teresa all these years. We've heard you complain. Just because you're in a good place, it's bogus that you won't let us talk about it or be a sounding board. We want to get to the same place you're at.
Well,
what?
I think they put Melissa in a tough spot because
Real Housewives is all about being in tough spots.
I understand that, but let's harken back to when Melissa and Teresa had that conversation in the kitchen. I think it was like episode 2 of this season.
We're gonna be sisters.
Here's my main problem with all reality shows, and I watch a lot of them, is that people always say, "Well, you were talking behind my back." What does that even mean?
Does it mean anything?
It doesn't mean anything. However, I think that was one of Teresa's points of contention with Melissa. Like, you were talking behind my back. And I think that Melissa's trying to avoid talking behind Teresa's back by just excising herself from all conversations that have to do with Teresa not being a perfect human being.
And can I bring something else up? Mm-hmm. I think it's ridiculous how everybody keeps on saying, well, Teresa, you forgave Melissa. Why don't you forgive Kathy and Rosie? Mm-hmm. Well, first of all, what Melissa did was join the show. That's what Melissa did to Teresa. Whereas Teresa spent 3 years helping to spread vicious lies and rumors about Melissa. So I'm like, why does Melissa even care that Teresa, quote unquote, forgave her? I mean, really,
because
Melissa needs to forgive Teresa. So it's ridiculous that everybody treats Teresa like she's some sort of like toddler who's about. I'm sorry, I'm yelling.
You're like, whoa.
She's some sort of toddler that needs to be tiptoed around lest we wake her.
I completely agree with you.
Which is ridiculous.
But I think that Melissa, being a normal human being like the rest of us, probably forgave Teresa who knows how long ago, because a normal human being wouldn't hold grudges the way that Teresa's bringing up things from like 1975. Like, we know that this is just the way that it is. I completely agree with you on every point. But I also I also see why Melissa didn't want to be a part of that conversation. Yeah. And I think that they should understand, TV show aside.
They should, but they can't.
Cameras aside, why they shouldn't try to drag her into it.
So, and it sets up why Jacqueline is now going to be at odds with Melissa and the
who is that person? In the previews we saw.
Oh, this is interesting. That is Robin Levy. That is the housewife that isn't. She and her wife, Christina Flores, were sort of touted, never confirmed, but sort of touted as the new housewives. And you've seen them in the background, but they were basically edited out of the show. They come along on the Vermont trip, and something bad happens on the Vermont trip. There are allegations of
what?
I think I can't remember exactly, but because I wasn't there. I mean, this is all just rumors. But I think Jacqueline felt that she was threatened by Robin.
Physically threatened.
Physically threatened. And so they were supposedly, reportedly, whatever, asked to leave, and then they are now not part of the Housewives. I don't know. We're going to see.
So now they're just friends of the Housewives.
Yes. And they were definitely at the finale, though, because I saw them there.
Interesting.
It's really interesting how, like, if you know what to look for, they're always there in the background, but they're never really on the show.
Right. And I didn't know what to look for, so I had no idea. And I was like, all of a sudden, Jacqueline's in this huge feud with some lady that I've never seen before.
Who sort of looks like Kathy a little bit, so.
The haircuts are similar, both very severe. All right. So anything else we want to say about Real Housewives of New Jersey?
Just make it happen, Bravo.
How many episodes do you think we're going to get this season?
Well, this was 10, I think.
Look, they need to cut this off at like 13, 14.
I'm hoping.
Let's give it the cable treatment, because it is on cable. So yes, let's give it the freaking cable treatment, Bravo. I can't go 22 episodes of this nonsense.
But even if there are like 3 or 4 more episodes, we still have like 3 episodes of reunion and then the lost footage. Honestly, so I've got 2 more months left of this.
Honestly, 2 reunion shows max. Bravo, listen to the fans, or former fans, or Vicki. Okay, let's move on to another reality show, Dancing with the Stars. Was that okay?
That was great.
Thank you. Starring our favorite Jersey girl of
Lori
the moment,
Hernandez.
Lori Hernandez, Olympian.
Old Bridge gymnast.
And
all-around awesome.
All-around
human emoji.
Cutie pie.
Beyonce's, Disney's Beyonce.
Which I don't even understand. I don't
get that either.
That analogy, but sure.
But she was really excited about it.
Was she?
Yes.
Well, she's excited about everything. Yeah. I think that's why we like her. So we're in week 2 now of Dancing with the Stars. Vicki, you have to watch because Lori Hernandez is on.
I do. Can I just tell you?
Yeah.
I have never watched a full episode of Dancing with the Stars in my life. I still technically haven't because I tend to fast forward through it. Mm-hmm. But I've certainly watched like many more of. I don't watch every single routine in its full either. But I've watched a lot more this season than I've ever have in previous seasons, and I sort of can see the appeal. Sort of. You're coming from a person who actually was a big So You Think You Can Dance fan.
So I love So You Think You Can Dance.
I'm saying? So I actually like people who actually can dance.
Right.
And what I much prefer to watch are the good routines. Like, I love the Babyface X-Files one, which I thought was an excellent routine, as opposed to the Rick Perry or Ryan Lochte ones, which are just, it's like,
they're
why
a little
am I wasting
Herman
my
Munster.
time?
They're very stiff.
Yes.
And I will say that, look, I did not watch this week because I don't watch Dancing with the Stars. I don't think I've ever watched a complete season. I usually dip in, dip out. So I'll catch a glimpse of a routine here and there. I know who got kicked off last night.
Yes.
I mean, last night, right? Tuesday night. By the time this airs, if you haven't watched, you're not going to. It was Jake T. Austin, who is one of the Disney people.
Who you assume, like, young, spry kid, he'd do well, but he really didn't.
I find this interesting, though, because the formula on Dancing with the Stars is they get an older white guy. Mm-hmm. They have a couple of retired NFL players. One random sports guy, that's the NASCAR driver or whatever he is this year. They always have a couple athletes, female or male, from other sports. And there's the young Disney person. Mm-hmm. And that was Jake T. Austin, former Disney star. And they bring on the young Disney person to capture that younger audience. Well, clearly the younger audience is not there. Mm-hmm. They're not watching.
That's true, actually.
He's the first person voted off. You know, I don't know how much that says about his dancing, though. I mean, he wasn't great, but I don't think he was the worst one.
I mean, I don't know if he's not among the young Disney zeitgeisty figures. I mean, maybe they've run out. I have no idea.
Maybe.
I mean, I never heard of him, but then I am not in the demographic for the Wizards of Waverly Place.
Oh, that was the Selena Gomez show.
Okay.
One day we're going to talk about the Disney oeuvre, because I really watched a lot of Disney as an adult, as someone older than someone who's 13.
You might have to have the conversation by yourself.
You never watched the Miley Cyrus show? What was that? Hannah Montana?
Never.
Oh, it was so good.
I'm so out of the demographic.
That's So Raven?
No.
Fine.
I mean,
Even Stevens?
I have watched an episode or two of Even Stevens, because I think my son, like, he was briefly in that and was watching that, but no, not really.
Okay.
Yeah, my son pretty much went from the Backyardigans to Game of Thrones, so, you know.
He skipped like a whole...
Skipped a lot.
Jeez. All right, so on Dancing with the Stars, you're watching because Lori's on. You had a post on NJ.com recently about where she is practicing. Now, of course, I didn't read it.
She's practicing she practiced up until the premiere, and when she's around, it's a don't make me try to remember.
It's in South River.
It's in South River.
Ballroom something.
Yes.
Just Google Ballroom South River, New Jersey. You'll get it. So does she practice there the entire season?
No. She's actually, the funny thing is that she's actually touring with, like, the Kellogg's
you're so right.
Parade of Olympians. I don't even know what it's called. The gymnast tour.
Yes.
And so I think when I spoke to the owner, like, when she's back, because she's not going to be appearing in the entire tour. When she's back, then she'll be practicing there. But that's where she practiced up until
Got it. With her partner.
Val, don't make me say his last name. I can spell it.
Is he a Chermakovsky?
Yes, he is.
Oh, okay.
Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Okay. I know how to spell it.
Do you like how I'm like the one who's been able to pronounce the hard names lately? I don't remember them, but I can pronounce them. All right, let's move on. So like I mentioned before, we're in the middle of Fall TV Premiere Week. Lots of shows premiering Wednesday night, which is tonight. I mean, I looked at my DVR and I almost had a heart attack. I had to make some tough decisions and say, like, cancel this recording because I didn't have any more space. And I can record 7 shows at a time.
This is the week where people who tell me, oh my God, you're a TV critic, you get to watch television for a living. That must be so awesome. And I'm like, no.
It's exhausting.
It's exhausting. And also, you have to watch some really bad television.
Right.
I mean, it's like, I can't even tell you, like, one of the things on my list I was watching, and I just, it took, like, every single bit of moral fiber in my body to not, like, just start playing, Game of Thrones quizzing things on my phone while I'm watching the TV show. No.
Okay, well, if you're going to tee it up that way, we're going to give you guys our top 3 must-watch and top 3, and you can skip shows of the new season.
Oh, please skip, not skip. Do not watch.
Definitely skip, Vicki says. Okay, so give us that one show where you're just like, I can't.
Oh my God, Notorious. Did you watch it?
That's on my list too.
No. Oh, not your good list.
No, it's on my bottom list.
Oh my God, I was watching this and I was dying.
It's hard to watch.
It is totally in the ABC sexy drama mode, except it isn't. It is unsexy and stupid and annoying and tedious and awful. Okay. It is about a high-powered TV producer played by
Piper Perabo.
Perabo, of course.
And by the way, love Piper Perabo. And that show that she had on USA that I can't recall.
Covert Affairs.
Love that show.
She's a likable actress, but I did not believe her.
Coyote Ugly.
I did not believe her as a high-powered TV producer in charge of the most watched TV news network, TV news show in America.
Right.
And she has a close relationship with a Mark Garagos type lawyer named, I think, like Jake Gregorian, very close there.
Well, the show is based on...
It is. It's based on Mark Garagos and this actual TV producer who is from Larry King Live.
Correct.
And how they sort of use each other and they, to get ratings for her and to basically instill seeds of doubt about his horrible clients,
It's just not a good show. I'm sorry. I completely agree with you. And I like the soapy, sexy, ABC dramas. I'm all about it. I have one of those on my top list. Mm-hmm. But Notorious, that's not it. And they have it paired with my beloved Grey's Anatomy.
Well, I think they have it paired because Kerry Washington's pregnant,
right?
So they
and
had
so Scandal's not
Scandal.
returning
but
until
it's like there's
spring.
No visual style to this.
It's very generic.
It's very generic. You like have no idea like what makes these people like when you may not love the stars of ABC Shondaland shows. They have a lot of flaws. Actually, that is probably one of the reasons why you like them. They are incredibly competent people, but they're also flawed. And these people are just so bland.
Right.
And there's no evidence that they do their jobs well. Right. They're just like sort of barking orders every once in a while.
So there's no, for you TGIT fans, this is not TGIT. That returns in the spring when Scandal returns. So you can skip Notorious. All right, let's go to one that you must watch. I'll go with mine because I'm sure we both have the same one on our list, although I'm looking at your list and I don't see it. Oh, I do see it. Okay. So a must-watch show premiered last night on NBC at 10 p.m., so last night would be Tuesday. That is This Is Us, which we've talked about on the show. I still love it. I think it's one of the best shows of this season. The best show that I've seen so far.
One caveat is that it was almost like a movie. So there is a wonderful reveal at the very end that's going to leave you sobbing.
And we won't spoil that.
We're not going to spoil it in case you haven't seen it yet. And so now that you know, kind of like what's going on, I don't know if it's going to have the same sort of emotional heft every single episode.
I think it's going to be really difficult for them to maintain that high level of quality and emotion moving forward. Because I watched the previews for next week's episode, and I was kind of like, all right.
I didn't see it actually because I saw the screener.
I saw the screener too, but I watched it again. I watched it again last night. So I don't know. I have concerns, but I will be watching episode 2 because the premiere was so good, and I encourage everyone.
It might be the best
it.
pilot of the fall.
Absolutely,
like Quantico was last season.
I was about to say that. I was going to say, remember Quantico? Although.
That was a great pilot.
Did not like the pilot of Quantico.
Should not have liked the pilot.
And I called it from the beginning, although I'm the only idiot who continued to watch the entire season.
Yes, you watched it longer than I did.
That was me. Okay, so let's go back to the skip list. Vicki, what do you got on your skip list?
Well, I mean, pretty much it's full of CBS comedies. So I'm going to go with The Great Indoors. Joel McHale, everybody loves from Community. I don't know what he is doing other than slumming in this terrible multicam sitcom about a amazing travel adventure writer who is brought back into his magazine's fold to run the magazine, which is now completely digital, and has to oversee a bunch of incredibly annoying millennials, like super more annoying than millennials actually are. I mean, I don't like I might say I don't like millennials, but
I'll say it.
Millennials have a certain rep, and this it's insulting to them. It is so bad. And so stupid, with every joke telegraphed. I hated it. Did you watch it? It's not premiering till late October.
I did not watch it because I saw the trailer and I was like, don't need to watch that one. It's not on my list though. So we're going to skip The Great Outdoors.
Oh my God. I mean, I'm actually a little worried that it might find a bit of an audience along the lines of The Big Bang Theory.
Oh, please.
But I'm hoping it does not.
All right. If you guys watch The Great Outdoors, what October you said?
October 24th.
Let us know. Okay. Back to the must-watch list. I'm going to throw in Pitch. Do you see how I did that?
Oh, that's nice. I just finished writing my review.
And that's not on your list?
It's not on my list. I had 2 other shows I liked like that.
All right. Well, Pitch is a show about the first female major league pitcher.
Baseball player, totally. First woman in the major league.
That's true.
Who happens to be a pitcher.
And plays for the Padres.
Yes.
And there is a twist at the end of that one that we have not spoiled yet. And it's a questionable show. We've talked about it before, where we don't know the audience that they're going after. It's about baseball, so you would think it's leaning heavily towards a male audience. It's on Fox, which also
and there's a lot of synergy with the whole. I mean, you actually have Fox Sports announcers, the on-screen graphics. It looks very real,
right? But the show is very much about this young woman and her journey, and it appeals to women as well. But I don't know if the marketing is appealing to women. So I don't know if it's going to find its audience. But I say it's a must-watch.
And it's up against Thursday Night Football,
which is dumb. So we'll see about Pitch, but I recommend it. What do you have on your to watch list?
I'm going to go for Speechless. Did you watch Speechless? Maybe you watched it?
I think I watched it a long time ago. I have to watch it.
Okay,
I know what it is.
On ABC tonight, Wednesday night at 8:30. It is about a grizzly mom, for lack of a better term, who is trying to make sure she has the right educational opportunities for her son, who has cerebral palsy, is in a wheelchair and can only communicate via one of those computers, and he has an aide who basically reads off of the computers. She also has 2 other kids, and one of the things I always find very interesting is that you can have a story about a special needs kid, and it is very much about him, played by Micah Fowler, who is from New Jersey, Barnegat, and actually has cerebral palsy in real life but can speak. But it's also about the other kids and how they sort of get shunted to the side when there's somebody who has greater, physical, needs than you do. I think actually one of the joys about this show is that many times you have like the schlubby dad, as opposed to the hard-charging mother. And I loved the father in this one. I thought he really grounded the show, and it was funny, and it was sweet, and it wasn't treacly really at all, and it didn't pander to anybody. I thought it was great. If I recall correctly, when we were basing our judgments only off the trailers, I said that looked funny, and you didn't like it. Because I was worried it was going to be after school specially, Oh. Well, that's what I was mainly worried about. I really like Minnie Driver. I like Minnie Driver on TV, and the last show she was on was about a boy, which I think was a very underrated, sweet show. It was fine. Loved it, and I wish they would bring it back. I actually finished watching it on Netflix because they had canceled it, and they didn't air it on NBC, and I finished watching it on Netflix because I loved it that much. So I do think I watched the premiere of Speechless, but it was so long ago I don't recall. Yeah. I will watch it again. All right, so we're going to go back to the bottom list. You tell me. This hurts my heart. Okay. The Good Place. Aw, how could you say that? Did you watch Kevin Can Wait? Did you watch A Man with a Plan? I know. The problem with The Good Place, and I just said this not too long ago, I have such high hopes and expectations of Kristen Bell, and I think she does great on the show, but the show itself, I don't get it, and I don't know what we're going to get every week. Like, she's going to do things, and then, like, The Good Place is going to become a little bit bad, and, like, in the second episode, there was the scene where Ted Danson kicks a dog which I laughed to the sun, and I was just like, what? And then the dog came back, and I was like, what? And they were wearing Bumblebee outfits. I don't know what was happening. It was weird. I loved it. All right, go ahead. Well, I'm very sad that you didn't like A Good Place, but I understand, like, the disappointment factor. Like, I put, like, several people on my worst dress list, not because their dresses were so hideous, but they were so disappointing because they could do so much better. That's how I feel. That's how I feel. I'm just going to go for plain bad. Okay. And actually, I have a problem with this because I'm going to use, between Kevin Can Wait and Man with a Plan, the 2 CBS comedies are going to be paired together come October. Kevin Can Wait already premiered. Mm-hmm. I'm giving it to Man with a Plan as being the worst, even though I saw the pilot that had Jenna Fisher and not the woman they replaced her with. Okay. But there's just no reason for it. Like, there's just no reason to put Matt LeBlanc, who actually has excellent comedic chops, if you've ever seen episodes, and put him in such a mundane, boring, mediocre comedy about it's like Mr. Mom, right? Yeah. But it's not even like very Mr. Mommy. It's not like, there's not like, anything really funny or slapsticky or anything about it. It's just not funny. Right. And you know what? Ratings are going to be through the roof. Oh, I hope not. All right. Okay. Well, I mean, look at Joey. Joey did not do well. But it wasn't on CBS. And you got to think about the audience of CBS. It's an older audience, so for them, it's like, oh my gosh, a man's going to stay home with the kids? Can't believe it. All right. So my final top 3 show. Vicky's going to kill me. What? She's going to kill me. What? Conviction. Well, I can't say that. I haven't seen it. I wanted to give this caveat. I'm still making my way through the fall season. There are several shows that are coming up in October I haven't seen, and one of them is, actually, I think Conviction might be next week. Yes, Conviction is one of them. So Conviction is on ABC. It's about a former first daughter who's had some trouble with the law. She's a drug user. Drugs. I thought it was alcohol. No, it's drugs. But she's also an attorney, and she gets hired to investigate questionable cases. So it doesn't mean that every case she investigates is a wrongful conviction, but they're questionable. Here's why I like it. It's not too deep.
I think the characters are interesting. I really like the supporting cast, including Marion Dungy, I think is how you say her name. I don't want to screw it up, but from Alias.
Right? Oh,
yes. How do you not? And so that's why I like it. I think it's a good ensemble. And I actually think it would have been a better Thursday night fit than Notorious. Mm-hmm. I think you'll like it, actually. Okay. You're not going to hate it. It may not be your favorite, but I think you'll like it. It's a show that I enjoyed.
I'm sorry.
Okay, fine. What's yours?
Well, I'm very torn about this. I got the first 4 screeners for Westworld. I managed to watch one because it doesn't premiere until October 2nd, right. So it's a little bit late. And I saw the first episode, and I am totally intrigued by it. I think people should definitely check it out. I'm not saying it's going to be the best show ever,
but it's a must-watch.
I would say I think based on like the fact that it's got a very intriguing premise, and it's got so much backstory to it with like, it's had all these reshoots and they were tinkering with it and trying to get it right. It's a very interesting. It's very cerebral. I don't think it's going to be the next Game of Thrones. I don't think people are going to latch on to this one, but I think it will find an audience, and I am very interested in it. And if you've seen the original movie, which I'm a big fan of, it's based on Michael Crichton. But it was based on Michael Crichton novel, or he wrote the screenplay with Yul Brynner and Richard Benjamin and a whole lot of really interesting people. It's different.
It's different.
And they're doing different things. And actually, I got an alert from HBO the other day to not tell people whether this certain character is a robot or a real human being. It's about robots, by the way. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so in case you don't know, it's robots in like a sort of an amusement park place. It's like
Jurassic Park,
visit.
But except in dinosaurs, there are robots.
Right.
Very, very, very real life robots who Anthony Hopkins plays sort of the creator of the park, who has been working his entire life on making them more and more and more lifelike. And is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, we shall see.
Yes.
All right. And so my final skip it is Bull on CBS, starring Michael Weatherly as the young Dr. Phil.
Because I hated it.
Yes.
But,
this is how I described Bull.
People are going to watch it.
This is how I described Bull to Vicki the other day. I said it's the perfect show to put on while you're taking a nap. Because you can watch the first 5 minutes, nap through the middle, wake up at the end, and see who did it. And that's it.
But you already figured out who did it based on the first 10 minutes. It's like, it's that guy I recognize. He did it.
It's a very Law and Order way of finding the criminal. Except I love Law and Order, and it was
also ridiculous. I mean, it's much more ridiculous, I think, than NCIS.
Right. But the ratings are going to be through the roof.
It didn't premiere.
It was
last night.
Oh, yeah, we don't have the ratings yet. No, I checked. So we'll have to come back next week with the Bull ratings, but I'm sure millions upon millions of people watched it.
I'm sure my mom watched it.
Of course, because they love them.
Michael Weatherly.
Michael Weatherly. So, Vicki, tonight's Wednesday night, and in the fall and in the spring, that only means one thing. Survivor. And so... I can't wait for it to premiere. That also means the end of Big Brother, although I can watch Big Brother... whatever they're calling it, on CBS Access Digital.
I'm shaking my head very, 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 very much.
Because you're not going to watch either one. All right, well...
no, I have to watch Survivor because
we have a New Jersey man.
Yes, we do.
What's his name?
Will Wahl.
Will Wahl. Such a good name. We had a very interesting conversation with Mr. Wahl, who is 18 years old. He's a recent high school graduate. He was in high school when they shot the show, I believe.
He is the youngest Survivor contestant
ever. And the one fun fact is he wouldn't tell us whether or not he was a hero or a villain, which leads me to believe that he's the bad guy.
I think he's a villain, based on his CBS bio where he talks about how just he wants to torment people for fun.
Yes, and also millennials are underrated or something.
It's millennials versus Gen X, by the way.
Oh, yes. Sorry, we forgot that part. Millennials versus Gen X. So I will be watching. Take a listen to our interview with Will Wahl, and Andrew Zuckerman, our other in-house Survivor expert, will be back on the show next week to break down the premiere. All right, Vicki, you know that I am a huge Survivor fan. I've been watching since it premiered in 2000. When I was in college, I would wear my Survivor t-shirt every week to class and then reserve the TV in the lounge because we only had one TV in the building.
You're embarrassing yourself.
I know. I'm also dating myself, considering that we're about to interview Will Wahl, who is an 18-year-old Survivor contestant on the new season. Will, are you there?
Yep, I'm here.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well. Vicki is an admitted non-Survivor fan.
I watch when I have to, when there is a New Jersey person on the show. But I was talking to... I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just saying that you got to watch this season then, right?
Yes, I have to watch the season at least until you get kicked off or you win, whichever comes first. I was talking to Erin earlier about your age. You're 18 years old, and you must not remember a world before Survivor.
Yeah, I actually didn't. I was about 2.5 years old when the show aired. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I don't really remember a world without the show.
And when did you start watching?
I started watching around season 22, so I was kind of a late fan. And it kind of just evolved over time. You know, I started getting into podcasts, like Roth has a podcast and things like that, and I started going on blog sites, and it just really started to develop into like a passion over time. And I went back and I rewatched all the old seasons. So, yeah, I really developed kind of a love for the show as time went on.
So what was your favorite season from the moment when you started watching, like with season 22, and then did that change once you watched some of the older seasons?
Yeah, my favorite season when I first started watching was Philippines because of, you know, Malcolm, and I really got invested in that season. That's when I started listening to the podcasts and things like that. As I started watching the older seasons, I really developed a love for Survivor Panama season 12 just because of how funny it was. You know, I really enjoyed the characters that season. However, there are many different seasons that I love. I love Micronesia, China. I can't really pick one favorite. You know, I love so many different seasons. There's even newer seasons like Cagayan and Cambodia that have really, you know, caught my attention, and I really enjoy all of them.
So here's my question for any true Survivor fan. What are your thoughts on Boston Rob? And then on the other hand, what are your thoughts on Russell Hantz?
Okay. Boston Rob, you know, I loved him in Marquesas. I loved him in All-Stars. He dominated Redemption Island. And, you know, he just played a very good overall game. It might have not been the most entertaining game to watch, but it certainly was an overall great game. And as for Russell Hantz, he had the strategic game right, but his social game was atrocious, and he did not deserve to win either one of the seasons that he played on because he messed up the social game. You need to be kind to people when you're playing Survivor. You can't just be a jerk to them and expect them to vote for you in the end.
So do you place equal weight on the social game and the strategic game and sort of, you know, winning challenges, or do you think one is more important than the other?
You know, this game is about balance. You need to be able to balance social, strategic, physical. Everything is about balancing yourself and making sure that you're able to basically be able to compete with people on all levels of the game. And if, you know, you're too strategic but you don't have a good social game, or if you have too much of a social game and you're not strategic enough, then it's not going to benefit you.
True. So this season of Survivor, they've broken up the tribes, millennials versus Gen Xers. You're clearly a millennial at the age of 18. Did you like being broken up that way? Did you know before you were cast, or did you know once you got to the island? How did that work?
I had no idea until Jeff revealed it, and I was ecstatic. You know, it was absolutely amazing to hear that I would be on the Millennial Tribe, because probably one of my biggest fears going into the game was, are people not going to, you know, take me seriously or something like that because of my age. But on a tribe with millennials, you know, when I heard it was a millennial twist, I thought to myself, okay, I might be able to work with this.
So let's clarify something here. You're 18 and they have your occupation listed as high school student.
Are you actually in high school right now?
At this very moment, I'm attending The Ohio State University in Columbus, Ohio. However, at the time of filming, I was a high school student, yes.
Got it.
And what's your high school? What was your
high school? High school is the Morris County School of Technology in Denville, New Jersey.
Okay.
Represent.
Yeah.
How did your folks feel about you being on Survivor?
Oh, they hated it. I mean, they were terrified. My mom and my dad both did not want me to apply, and when I did apply, I basically told them there's no chance that I'm ever going to get casted on the show, so you don't have to worry about it. I'm just going to apply as a fan. And they were not very happy when I ended up getting casted. But at that point, it was too late for them to stop me, and I just had to keep going.
Well, what were their concerns? I mean, were they concerned for your safety, that you're going to have to be airlifted out, or just getting a bad rep on television and having to live it down for the rest of your life?
Yeah, I think my mom was definitely more worried about the physical part, you know, me losing a lot of weight or me feeling depleted or something of that nature. That was her concern. Her concern was more the physical. My father was more of the mental, or how it will affect me after the game. He was worried about future careers or something like that. They both had very different concerns between the two of them, but both of them were kind of reserved about me wanting to be on the show.
Well, I know you can't talk about what happened on the show at this point, but when you look back, do you think did your father have reasons to be concerned? Your behavior on the show, how you played?
You're just going to have to wait and see on that one.
Generally?
Yeah, I was going to ask a similar question, because in the past we've had heroes versus villains, and I want to know which of those tribes you would be on if they were to do another heroes versus villains season.
You know, here's the thing. I agree with Jonathan Penner in that there are no heroes
love Jonathan
or villains.
Penner. By the way.
Oh, yeah.
I love him.
Jonathan Penner is amazing. Like, one of the best narrators of all time, in my opinion. But I agree with him when he said at the reunion in Cook Islands, or maybe it was Micronesia, where he said there are no heroes or villains in Monopoly or in Sorry or any kind of game. You know, this is a game, and there are no heroes or villains, in my opinion.
I kid you not.
Just play to win.
I know someone who is friends with Jonathan Penner, and she knew how much I love Survivor, and she got him to sign a napkin for me.
Really?
So many embarrassing Survivor stories I have.
Honestly, if I had a napkin signed by John Penner, I'd probably frame it. That's really cool.
It's nice to meet a fellow Survivor fan, I will say.
Yeah.
So last season, Jersey girl Michelle Fitzgerald, she took home the crown. She won it all. Do you feel pressure to repeat for the Garden State?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I definitely want to represent New Jersey out there, and I definitely feel like, you know, being the only person from New Jersey this season definitely puts a lot of weight on my shoulders, and we'll definitely see how I do.
All right, I have one last question for you. Last season, Julia Sokolowski, she was the youngest contestant up to that point ever to be on Survivor, and she came in 7th place. What do you think that you bring to the table that she didn't?
Well, I think I definitely have a lot of confidence, and not to say that she wasn't confident, but I definitely have a lot of confidence in myself. I know who I am as a person. I know what I'm doing and, you know, what I want to accomplish out there. And I feel like that I have a little bit more of the mindset needed to play this game going in. It seemed to me like she was a little bit uneasy at the beginning and that she was a little bit unsure of herself. I feel like I definitely have what it takes to keep a level head and to play as hard as possible.
It sounds like you do. I actually do have one more question, sort of a breaking news situation that happened today. Jeff Probst revealed to Entertainment Weekly that on day 2 of filming, a cyclone came through Fiji and you guys had to be evacuated. What can you tell us about that?
I am not going to say anything about that. I'm just going to let you guys see how it plays out, and I'll leave it at that.
Well, clearly he survived.
Clearly he survived. Well, Will Wahl, thank you. We will be watching you on this season of Survivor, which premieres September 21st on CBS. We are rooting for you because you are our Jersey representative, and Vicki will be watching.
Yes.
Okay.
Very
awesome.
Thanks for chatting with us.
Yep. It's great to talk to you guys, too. Have a great day.
You too.
Bye.
Okay, that's going to do it for this week. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at TV Hangover Show at @E_Meds, and at Vicki High, VICKIHY. We also have that email address, tvhangovershow at NJ@advancedmedia.com.